there's no chance that I'm here and committed to try to build an organization.
Okay. Is there anything that you guys are going to do different preparation-wise in response to last week?
We're still evaluating it. I mean, we're going to have a good practice this week. Obviously, last week is completely different because it was following a bye or an off week. So we're just going Wednesday, Thursday, and day by day. But still looking at some things.
Is it tough to not overreact necessarily?
Yeah, it is. But as I was, I'm just out there, and the locker room's the most important thing, and I just see good players. I see good people, and just it's a build, and we're building.
What kind of challenge does Vic Fangio's defense present?
Yeah, they're really well coached. First of all, fundamentals, I don't know Coach very well, but I know people who've worked with him, and you can see hand placement and just physicalness at the line of scrimmage. Coverage they do, it's called a push coverage, but they have a lot of variations off of it, so just a really well coached defense.
What makes you confident that the issues of week 1 won't be issues in week 2?
I just said the quality of player and the quality of people. And I'm very transparent with our players and a lot of respect for these guys. I have not wavered on that. So we all have to do just better, getting ready to go and then playing better.
Are there specific things you expect the leaders on the team to do coming off a loss?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that, and I'm going to probably meet with them. I met with them somewhat individually as we go, but good quality leaders. And I was warned many times. It's a journey. It's not a sprint. And we're healthy. Our attitudes are good. We have good players, and we're building something. So, and our special teams were incredible. Some really good efforts. Josh Allen had some really good efforts. We got to get rid of the damn penalties, and we got to not turn the ball over. That's going to be that way for 100 years from now.
Building off of that, versus when you first took this job versus where it is today, how much more of that, this is a process, this is a building process, maybe how much more has that?
I think every team, I don't want to ever fall into that trap of saying this is, we're going to, in a 4-year plan and 3-year plan. That's not fair to players. This is a 1-game plan, and then we'll worry about the next game. So that's not fair to there are some guys who play a lot of football in that locker room, and they deserve our very best, and that's what it is. So other than a bruised soul that we all have right now, we're still swinging away. And like I said, you'd probably see a little different look on my face if I had bad guys. That's not the case at all.
I know you didn't think it would ever be easy, but did you think it'd be smoother?
I thought it was very smooth until the game. I thought, once again, training camp, relatively healthy. You had ETN and you had Trey Herndon. That was the biggest concern. How do you, my first training camp, how do you make sure that you're treating guys right? Our whole sports performance model, knock on wood, has been very positive. Just the general approach to the player-coach relationship and coaching staff relationship has been very positive. So it's just we lost a game.
Urban, when you took this job, did you expect to have so many critics around the country?
So much what?
Critics, people saying this and that.
I don't know who they are, and I probably got an idea. But I learned about 6 years ago when I read something that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I said, I'm good, I'm done. I'll never read again. So Amy helps me with that. She sends me just the positive stuff. It's been kind of small, but
What is every article I write?
What was it you read?
you have to ask Amy. I don't read. No, I can promise you I don't read this narrative, and I don't read the silliness about our players or about, and she knows that. She's just, hey, did you hear? And I'm like, oh, is that right?
Okay, so there's body language experts out there reading everything that every time you're on camera, and they're like, he looks defeated. He looks like his heart's not in it, this, that, and the other. I mean, like, can you?
I'd rather just talk about the game, if that's right.
Okay.
How did Laviska Chenault play for you?
Pretty good. He has once again a narrative of being hurt all the time. He hasn't missed anything. He's been fantastic. We just got to get him in space a little bit more. A good young player, really good young player.
Duke Johnson, Jacob Hollister, how are they coming along? Is there a chance this weekend that they play?
I don't want to say anything. I'm just not sure yet. We'll know more after today.
What was the bigger disappointment for you about the defense? Was it not contesting more balls? You had only 2 pass breakups,
Yeah.
or was it their ability to consistently run the ball, even though they didn't have these gaping runs?
I think you look, you know, it was also against New Orleans, and also Cleveland threw a couple up there, just playing the ball in the air, you know, and that's something that we know they can. I see it, but you think there was 3 50-50 balls last week, and they caught them all. The Tyrod threw, you know, one he's getting hit falling backwards, throws it to the tight end, and then the others were just scramble and launch it down the field. You know, we got to make those plays.
What has the emphasis been to the offensive line? Some of the issues on Sunday.
Yeah, elimination of penalties, even though, you know, I not necessarily agreed with them all, but no one asked my opinion of those, so it's a penalty. But we have to consider, but we did. We ran the ball decent, but we just got behind the chains, and next thing you know, you're down by a couple scores, and you get that panic feeling a little bit. That's not what you should do with a young quarterback.
Do you feel like when you get behind the chains like that, behind those scores, that it makes it tougher to pass pro?
Yeah, but the pass pro was, if you had to say a couple positives, we threw the ball 51 times, and there was 1 sack, a couple pressures, but it's also the NFL. So we're going to talk about a challenge this week now.
What has been the conversation with Trevor? I know we talked about this last week before game 1, but in terms of him using his legs, him running, is that still one of those things? I know Darryl said, you know, we don't want him tucking and running it like he did at Clemson. What was the conversation this week coming out of week 1 in regards to that?
Trevor's got to become Trevor a little bit, you know, that's part of the game, you know, not designed necessarily like, you know, that they ran at Ohio State, or we ran at, they ran at Clemson, we ran at Ohio State or Florida, or I don't see, you know, I'm not saying we won't, but there's also the element of he's a big, fast athlete that gets you some yards once in a while if you have to. So I didn't really have a chat with him yet about that, but he's a very studious player, and he sees it, I'm sure.
Watching the tape back, did it look like he was hesitant to run since he really didn't at all on Sunday?
Not necessarily. You know, one of the things we train our guys, keep our eyes downfield as much as you can, but there's also that element, get us to 2nd and 3 whenever you can.
You touched on Von Miller and maybe even Bradley Chubb if he's available. What kind of game records are those 2 guys, and how cognizant of them do you have to be on every single down?
Yeah, well, Vaughn's going to line up to our right side. We know where he's at every snap. He's that good of a player. He's also good against like zone read and those type of things, but he's a dynamic, you know, he's a generational pass rusher. So you just have to know where he's at and have to have a plan for him.
James Robinson, I know some of it was situational and behind the chains, like you said, but only 5 carries.
Yeah, we got to get more.
I mean, how important is it to really kind of get him going, not just the run game?
Yes and yes.
Irvin, what's your anticipation for playing a regular season home game here?
I just wanted to win that darn game to give our fans something to, you know, we all have a dream, and my dream is that stadium erupts. So, but we got to do our job.
Yeah, on Monday, I know you hadn't spoken with a lot of the coaches at that point when you spoke to us. At times on Sunday, there were a couple times like they were trying to bring defenders onto the field, whether it was Jihad or Caleb, then they'd run back to the sideline. There appeared to be miscommunication. What has been the discussion among the coaching staff about rectifying some of that?
Yeah, we simplify and just be, you know, we have to do a better job. You know, that's first game type stuff, not, you know, that's our 4th game. So we shouldn't have that, and we got to get it fixed. Thank you.